Hello Internet, my name is Swan, and this video is my attempt of a special Nuzlocke challenge that I have not seen done before. I have dubbed this the Nerflock. This challenge does start with the base Nuzlocke rules. Catch and nickname only the first Pokemon on each route. If the Pokemon faints, it is considered dead and must be released or boxed. The hard Nuzlocke rules are: no items in battle, only held items and Pokeballs are allowed. Battle style must be changed to set. No overleveling past the gym leader's ace Pokemon or the final Elite Four member's ace Pokemon. As for my own personal rule for this run, I will only be using Johto Pokemon. As for the rule of the Nerflock, or in other words, the bad moveset run, based on the Pokemon stat distribution, it will have the moveset that will reflect off its poorer stats. To present an example of how this nerfed rule works, the Generation 2 starters' final evolved forms of Meganium, Typhlosion, and Feraligatr. The easy ones to look at are Typhlosion and Feraligatr. Typhlosion stats show it to be more of a special attacker. Feraligatr stats show it to be more of a physical attacker. So with the namesake of the challenge, the idea is to nerf their movesets. With Generation 1, 2, and 3 for this challenge, the physical special split is determined by the type of the move. In example, normal and fighting types are physical, grass and fire are special. So by the end of the run, any encounters I have will be given movesets that are poorer for them to do damage with. So Typhlosion will become a physical attacker without the ability to use its stab bonus. Feraligatr, however, gets to keep his stab bonus and be able to use other special type moves, but cannot use any physical moves at all. I would consider Feraligatr the easy mode for this run, as you can very easily throw specialty M's onto it and it'll do fair damage. So to nerf this moveset by the end, he will not learn Surf or Waterfall, making any stab moves used requiring to be 60 damage or less. Meganium is where it's starting to get tricky for how to nerf a Pokemon that has a fairly even stat distribution, as Meganium has the same stats in both attack and special attack. So I had to see how a Pokemon would generally be used in battle, both in competitive and in general play. So with Meganium and most grass types, they will not be able to use stab moves. However, especially with Meganium, touching back on Feraligatr not able to learn a stab move that is less than 60 power, most grass type starters get the move Razor Leaf. This move is banned, so Meganium is limited to only using attacking moves, and if it learns a move that would cause status to the enemy or buff to the team, I am allowing it to be used until it can be replaced by an attacking move. The research I did for this challenge presented to me that the encounters I would get could be usable, manageable, or unusable. Normal types were all basically the same, where they needed to eventually become special attackers, and most normal types can learn the elemental punches, as well as the standard strong special moves Surf, Ice Beam, Flamethrower, and Thunderbolt. But the choice of which normal type to keep by the endgame would depend on how well I could keep them alive, as I have attempted Nuzlocks in the past on my own time, and I generally would fail. There is a mild issue with Nerflock for one of the new types introduced with this generation, Dark and Steel. Let me first talk about the Steel types: Steelix, Forretress, Skarmory, Scizor. All Steel types in this game only learn physical moves and generally have an okay attack stat, but a lackluster special attack. So rather than using a Pokemon that has high defense, throw it in, set up Sandstorm, and then have them dip out to cause my own team to get further damage, I chose not to go for any Steel types. Dark types, however, are at least a little bit more versatile, although limited. We have Umbreon, Murkrow, Houndoom, Tyranitar. There is only one Dark type before the post-game in Gold and Silver, being Umbreon. The rest are locked for the post-game and are not the most easiest to encounter, and using Tyranitar would just make the run so much longer to get through, so I'm choosing not to use this pseudo-legendary. As we go through this video, I will present each encounter and what they will ultimately need to be treated as for their movesets. Unfortunately, by this portion of the gameplay, I have lost the video footage for my battle against Faulkner, but you would have seen my encounters thus far. Sakiru Sentret, who is supposed to be a special attacker eventually. I then used the clock change exploit as to not have to wait multiple hours for the game to change into night to get the other early route encounters. We have Hen the Hoot Hoot, which is actually going to be a physical user, so it only uses its stab moves. And we have Eddie Brock the Spinnerack, which in fact will be a special attacker. It does learn a decent amount of special moves. Due to the footage lost, you are not privy to see my horrible battle against Faulkner, where unfortunately Eddie Brock was taken out by his Pidgeotto. You should be able to see my team on screen. Now, Spinnerack is replaced by Zevestvan, the Mareep, which I did not want at this time because the encounter tables should have allowed for me to get a Wooper instead. You can watch my video on this, which I will link down below or in a pinned comment, possibly in the iCard in the upper right. Before going into the Sprout Tower, my team has increased with a good encounter, Nosferatu, the Zubat, who is to be a special attacker. From here, I use Zubat up front to get as much friendship as possible while in this first form, so I can get the oh so powerful Crobat as early as possible. Zubat using Leech Life, however, is a tedious process, so even using 3 to 4 Leech Lives per Bellsprout, I was only able to get through about 5 Bellsprouts before needing to start switch training. The Elder Sage at the top of the tower was harder than expected, with keeping the level cap of Faulkner to 9, where the Elder's level cap is 11. I thought that being lower level than him would have been difficult, but using Zubat's typing was helpful to sponge the Vine Whip so he could still keep experience and friendships points. Now, I did from here proceed down through Route 32, unfortunately recalling the fiasco that Zevestvan sparked rage inside of me. He will soon regret this decision of making him my encounter. I digress. Union Cave isn't too much to talk about, but the hikers within are trouble as I don't currently have any special moves that I can use, which Zevestvan is the reason for. So I attempted to dodge the hikers as best as possible, whereas the other trainers in the cave were no problem to deal with. This statement will definitely not come back to bite me in the ass. I'm definitely not making a reference here to someone that could make things very difficult for me going forward. There's absolutely no reason I avoided the hiker outside the cave, catching Sugar Wool the Hoppip, other than to go and heal. Hoppip, by the way, is intended to be a physical attacker that could status the enemy. It would be a decent headbutt user to get advantage of headbutt flinches, but it shall remain in the box for now. After healing up from the Union Cave, I changed time once again to get my next encounter, thankfully without the worry of the rival fight, as it is not available until after the rocket events of Slowpoke Well. My Lex Forest encounter is Kahiko the Oddish, which will eventually become a Blossom, who will be a physical attacker. Possibly better than Meganium, but at least Blossom can use Acid if Gloom learns it. For now, I do proceed through the story where it starts to present Team Rocket attempting their comeback after 3 years, when Red had caused Giovanni to disband the organization. The organization decided to start by cutting off Slowpoke tails. You know, I never truly understood that plan. Anyways, Nosferatu learned Bite earlier, so now I can use a special move to proceed through a good portion of these grunts. However, the last rocket grunt caused me some issues. I did not look into his team or moveset prior to the battle. This grunt has a coffin that knows tackle, smog, and poison gas. I did not prepare. I had berries in my bag. I could have used them to help prevent the poisoning, but I just ran right into him to start the fight. I attempted to use Growl to lower his attack since poison is physical, but his attacks would still do severe damage to my entire team because coughing has a fairly good attack compared to my team's physical defense, kinda. During the battle, I was trading the enemy's blows between my Pokemon, trying to lower coughing's attack while it kept landing poison on my team. I could have avoided the poisoning if I actually used the berries I gathered. I was able to get his attack down just enough so the tackles and smogs he threw my way were not that damaging, but the poisoning I suffered was greater than the damage he could deal. I swapped out every team member as much as I could to prevent the poison damage from building up too much, and unfortunately it came down to Zavustfan going down to a crit. Although I feel that he deserved it for what he made me deal with in my other video, it is still a sad loss for a useful physical attacker that could have been. Zavustfan sacrificed himself so the team could survive. Luckily, the following attacks from coughing were not so great, and the poisoning did not take out the team. After leaving the rocket events in the well, my egg hatched just in time to give me a new team member in the form of Scrambled Togepi, who will be another physical attacker, although not the best of luck. I took time to train up the team and ran into the hiker I skipped earlier, assuming his team would not be difficult as the previous hikers had only Geodudes and at low levels. Unfortunately for me, this hiker outside the cave has Geodude and Machop that are both level 11. Out first was the Geodude, who at 11 knows Rock Throw, and during the course of this battle he was not missing this 90% accuracy move, and I could not keep my team alive long enough for the 15 power points of it to be used up, as well as his other moves. Unfortunately, this hiker was doing so much damage to my team to the point where I was left with a choice. Wipe and start over, or break a rule. I'm sorry everyone, but I've spent too much time on this run so far. I chose to break a rule and use mini games to attack with Razor Leaf to kill this hiker's team. I feel since I broke this rule, I will no longer be able to use him, as to proceed with this challenge was more important to me than starting over. Please let me know in the comments below whether I should have taken the loss and wiped, or if my choice of not using minigames anymore is sufficient so I can finish the run. I will note this is commentary after recording, so upon the next video, minigames will be put in the box. I did end up grinding out some levels for my team before the fight with Bugsy, so I was meeting his ace Scyther at level 16. Grinding for Bugsy did present with some evolutions. Minigames is now a Bayleaf, and Sakiru is now a Furret. There is not much to say about the gym trainers here in Bugsy's gym. They're all bug types, and I have Hen with Peck, so it was basically a full sweep all the way up to Bugsy, except for the last trainer with the Beedrill. He at least caused some damage that made me use some healing items afterwards. And remember that I did not have any berries attached for this gym leader fight. I made sure they were attached this time. Bugsy was not the hardest fight. I used Nosferatu's bite to handle the incoming Metapod after swapping out Scrambles. As Dark type is special, and both Metapod and Kakuna use Harden, which only affects physical defense. Scyther, however, was another story. I swapped Scramble back out to get some attack drops, I chose to go with Growl as I thought I recalled Charm was bugged in Gen 2 and it does not actually drop attack by 2 stages and it only drops it by 1 stage. I think now that I am wrong about this, please comment below if I am. I stayed in as long as possible with Scramble, but Scyther just kept hitting his Fury Cutters, increasing his damage. I felt safe enough to swap out into Sakaru, as I believed her high defense would allow for her to survive and get some damage off. Unfortunately, Scyther's Fury Cutter got enough damage increases that he obliterated Sakaru with only 2 Fury Cutters, even with the heal from the berry. Sakaru will be missed, as she falls, watching her partner run off with Long Man. Nosferatu came in afterwards to attempt to stop this scythe-wielding bug from slicing my team in twain from his amped-up attacks. But because, of course, he just keeps landing this 95% accurate move, but whenever I try to use it, I miss every 3rd damn time, making the move basically pointless. But not to the AI, no, they keep passing all of their accuracy checks. Nosferatu is attempting to confuse the bug as fast as possible. He missed, but tried again, barely holding on, and thankfully the confusion landed and Scyther hit himself to break the Fury Cutter buildup. However, Nosferatu does not have much power behind him, so I had to swap out for Hen, who I know can do damage with Peck. Luckily, Scramble's growls did help overall, allowing Hen to get the revenge kill for Sakaru. As much as Hen was problematic with not wanting to be caught earlier, she is really showing her worth with this battle, and more to come, and the badge is ours. Along with an evolution, Scramble is now a Togetic. I proceeded to the Poke Center to lay our Sakaru to rest, and in the process pulled up some weeds to allow for her grave to be cleansed. Kahiko, please do Sakaru justice. I grabbed the fastball from Kurt, and then I made my way out of town and was interrupted by the first tough rival fight. The actual first rival fight is nothing special, which is why I sped through it, because before it was just tackle versus tackle. Anyways, this fight, however, can be difficult. I knew he started with Ghastly, so I started with Nosferatu. Not just for bite, but because he needs friendship to get the probe out. I figured my little bet could easily deal with a ball of ghostly gas. But Nosferatu got paralyzed from Lick. Nosferatu hung on though. Nosferatu still hung on, being paralyzed to then get confused. He got off a strong bite, but I did not want to test my luck any further with him, so I brought out Hen. Hen now has Hypnosis and Foresight, so I can easily put enemies to sleep with this 2-turn combo. But I figured Hen should have enough power behind her to deal good damage to a Zubat. However, unfortunately, the AI still seems to be getting good luck with hitting inaccurate moves, and Hen gets confused as well. Rather than keeping Hen in and making her cause damage to herself, I bring out Arthur the Slowpoke. Arthur immediately gets confused and hits himself. I mean, I know he can learn confusion, but this is ridiculous. I swap Arthur out for minigames, tackle the Zubat, but it does not do a whole lot, so I set up Reflect and I do a Growl to make his Leech Life do less damage. Then Minigames proceeds to tackle down the bat, even through getting confused and having his health drained through Leech Life. Then Falcon brings out his starter, Kalabra. This thing. Oy. This thing was difficult for my team, especially with me having 2 grass types and no usable strong moves against him. I bring out Hen on the hopes to put him to sleep, but for some reason, even though he attempted to use Smokescreen, it did not hit me. I landed my Foresight, but then Hypnosis did not affect him. How the hell does that happen? I could have sworn Foresight acts like Lock-On to allow for the next move to hit, on top of its original use for being able to hit Ghost types with Normal type and Fighting type moves. Well, I did some research quick, and apparently I was mistaken. It does not do that. But it does kinda bypass accuracy checks, like smokescreen and double team. Sort of. Oh well. I attempted again, but Kalava brought Hen too far down to my liking, so I swapped her out. I brought out Scramble, forgetting they don't really have an attacking move besides Metronome, so I put Arthur back out, where he is hit by a few leers. This damn thing, making it so difficult to get a good footing upon swapping my teammates around. I had Arthur get off a tackle, but I did not like how little damage it did. I swapped out to Kahiko, and she was able to get a poison powder off, putting Kalava on a timer. Then I took her back out, swapping for Scramble? Why did I do this? Well, for some reason, I decided to try out Metronome, and I got Conversion first try. At least this failure of mine brought Kalava down further due to poison. At this point, I figured might as well wait out the poison timer. I stayed in with Scramble and went for Metronome again, and I rolled Surf? Oh my god, what the hell? What the fuck? Well, battle over, I guess. Thanks, Scramble. Well then, with Scramble's help, the rival battle could have been difficult, but wasn't. I proceeded through Lex Forest. I did cut out the far-fetched sequence and any wild battles on my way to grab the free headbutt TM. I can buy more at the department store in Goldenrod. I took care of all the trainers and grabbed Tina's phone number for the Leaf Stone that she can give me later on. However, upon looking at the Leaf Stone evolutions and the available Pokemon for me to use, a Leaf Stone is useless. I need the Sunstone, which I believe is given from the bug catching contest. But no rush on that just yet. I need Keiko to learn Acid so Blossom has a good physical move. The police officer with the Growlithe was a tad annoying with it using Roar constantly, moving my team in and out of battle, but after some time, it wasn't any issue. There really isn't too much to go over here at this time. I healed up, picked up the radio card, went to the department store, and got a bunch of headbutt TMs, so my team could have a fairly good physical move. Next, I ran up to 35 for my next encounter. Lexi the Poliwag, who'll be a good physical attacker in Politoed. But that does it for now. I don't have a lot of time to record as much as I wanted, and I didn't want this first video to be over an hour long, hence all the speed up. Between here and the next video, I will have my team trained up and ready for Whitney's gym. I hope to see you all in the next one. Bye!